Hey, y'all. Welcome to Cornbread and Roses. I'm your friendly neighborhood organizer, Austin, and it's good to see everybody. And I'm here tonight with Jason,
Hello, comrades.
and we are the most unprofessional podcast in Alabama, the United States, and perhaps the universe. But we are also the only socialist podcast in the state. So, hey, welcome to it.
Right. It's
Yeah,
us, everybody. You have no other options.
I know. It's us or barbarism, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It might be us and barbarism.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely barbarism out in LA right now. And I can expect that to looks some of that's happening in Chicago as well.
And New York.
And New York. I haven't
It's
seen
all
any
there
videos.
with everybody involved.
Yes. New York they got a hell of a mayoral candidate that's just a few, like 5 to 8 points behind the favorite Cuomo, who was
Is
the
Cuomo
governor.
favorite? Oh, God.
Yeah, he was the governor. Dead elderly folks from COVID. I don't know how many dozen plus sexual harassment things. That Cuomo. Yeah, he's on his and also not really from New York City, by all accounts. Yeah, he's definitely taking the Eric Adams route. Uh, Adams was living in Jersey, uh, but yeah, and so yeah, this week we've got some memes. We got our conspiracy theory of the week, and we got this week in socialism. We got some events and training that's available out there, especially this 14th coming up. There's the again the No Kings 5051 and is doing some organizing across the country, and then we'll get to that, and then we'll do some articles about what's happening in the state and some across the country. So yeah, let's see here. We got a few. I didn't do a super deep dive into some meme analysis this week, so only got a few, but I hope they suffice. Let's see here. Where are you at? We're getting there. You're high. You're in the Epstein files. Classic meme from Arrested Development. I watched that show, but I can't remember the damn characters' names.
I never saw it.
Yeah. You ever watch that show?
I never saw it. I don't watch a lot of television.
Right. It's I think it's worth watching for sure. It's definitely one of the better comedies that came out of that era, which is 20 years ago now, really. Oh yeah, we got Taco and Elmo fighting, and the world's just sitting back there in the lurch, hitting that bong, taking a look at us. Well, which will this will lead into our conspiracy theory of the week. This is foreshadowing, as they say. I'll have to excuse my puppy back there. I say puppy, the dog's like 4 years old, but they're all puppies to me. It is Pride Month, and would just like to say during this Pride Month, please remember to be kind to MAGA. Their dads are breaking up. Oh my goodness, dog. You're stepping on my timing. Uh, yeah. Doggo can smell the burgers and hot dogs we got out there, corn on the cob and some grilled onion and all that good stuff, which I unfortunately don't get to have it hot. I get to eat it cold tonight because panically, goodness. I might have to send you outside while I do this. Let's see here. We got our next one right here. Oh, goodness. Y'all give me 1 second. We go outside.
So yeah, I guess it's up to me to fill the time, so there's no dead air. Let's see. For the record, I'm not real keen on memes that are predicated on the idea that Donald Trump is gay with somebody else. I don't know. I just don't think it's not very woke.
Well, they are metaphorical daddies, so I think it works. I think it works. But I do see your point. Where we got next? There you are. Oh yeah. Liberals, leftists, and centrists watching and betting on the fight between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Yeah, we definitely got a theme this week. And then we got one more little guy before we get into conspiracy and the rest of the show. Whoa, no, not that. This. And we got we got the baby burning on the ground as mom looks on her computer saying, "Not now, sweetie. Mommy's watching two divas publicly crash out on their respective social media platforms." I'll add that they both own. Pretty funny. Like they got their own personal media, personal social media companies that they own. I mean, that's where we're at, folks. All right. Join Blue Sky. Blue Sky, there's your sponsorship. What is it? Whatever. Sponsorship. Endorsement. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, please send all checks to us.
To fund the left.
That's right.
Yeah. And if you haven't, like, subscribe, comment, hop in the chat, all that good stuff. All right. Moving right along to this week's, I feel like I need like a fanfare for this part. The conspiracy theory of the week. All right, let's see. Where are you? Back to it. Oh no, don't do that to me. There it is. Oh yeah. Now, Jay, have you been keeping up with the girls fighting this week?
A little bit. I've been paying. I try to pay attention to Alabama stories because of to get ready for the podcast. But I've been paying attention a little bit of like them trading blows, and I saw the tweet that Elon Musk sent out about Donald Trump is in the Epstein files.
Oh yeah. So yeah, is Donald Trump in the Jeffrey Epstein files? What to know about the social media fight with Elon Musk?
Musk.
So we'll read the tweet right here real quick. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, Musk wrote June 5th on X. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT! Exclamation point. I have to say the exclamation point because I can't really say it as excitedly as his ketamine stained lips can.
Right. You have to be a little bit more high in order to say it with that kind of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You have to be into a K-hole.
Yeah, and it looks like Trump's over here. Sure, he wouldn't be in the K hole. He'd be more like in a D hole. But and this was taken not at the bye-bye ceremony because we don't see the black eye from his son, which was really the which secretary was it? Besant that punched him in the face. We got
Really?
Letnick over here. Yeah. It wasn't his son that punched him. He said it was his son, but him and Letnick got in an altercation, and he got punched in the face. Which good for him, I guess. Little, clocks, broken clocks, right twice a day. So he was correct in punching Elon Musk.
Oh man, that must have been that would be a glorious moment in your life if you could punch Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Imagine going to a bar and telling people you punched Elon Musk.
Oh man, you would drink for free for the rest of your life.
Be one of the proudest moments in my life.
Of course, there's more to this. Yeah. So this is the conspiracy, right? That Trump is in the files, and he has a long-standing relationship with Epstein. I'm gonna share a few pictures real quick. That's what we say. That's early 90s ish, maybe. Him with Epstein. I think this right here is from a party from like 92. Very, very stylish. What is that? A denim shirt Epstein's wearing right there. And we got Trump he's dancing during this video, but he hasn't gone to the trademark double jerk off that he's so amazingly perfected. And then, one of the more recent ones, which is with his Trump and his current wife. I don't remember which number it is. And then Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So how much do you know about this whole Epstein thing? Because I consider myself pretty close to an expert on it at this point.
Oh wow!
So
I didn't pay as much attention to it. I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that the people in power are secretly sex pests.
Right.
And so I just assume that they're like the files are not being released because they're all on it, and the number of heads that would roll if they ever became made public.
Some mutual assured destruction.
Exactly.
Situation. Yeah. So we got Ghislaine right here, and her dad has been rumored and documented or whatever to be a Mossad agent, and he mysteriously died on a boat, his yacht, and he was out in London, press type guy. He was a fraudster, stole a lot of money from people, and then we got Epstein right here, who went to college, didn't graduate, then lied about his credentials to get a job at this Dalton school, which is, fancy rich preparatory type school. And then he lied about his credentials to get a job at like Bear Stearns. This is late 70s, and he was known as a ladies' man. Then he got found out, but they kept him anyway, and he got made a limited partner there, and then he ended up getting fired eventually, and then went to Europe and worked there and came back, and continued on and on, and he got put in charge of this guy Lex Wexner. His fortune. He's a guy who like created the Limited and bought Victoria's Secret and Abercrombie and Fitch, both places that had definitely sexual misconduct issues. And there's rumors that like Wexner fell in love with Epstein and they were lovers. And part of that mutually assured destruction stuff is that pretty sure that Epstein was a CIA, Mossad almost assuredly, and probably a CIA asset as well, considering how much the Mossad and CIA work together. But DJT here, he had almost a 20-year relationship with Epstein, and they say he never went to Epstein Island, right? Little St. James out there. But, the rape that occurred and the sex trafficking and all that was not like at just that island. It's not like he saved it all for the island. He trafficked kids in New York, out in New Mexico, New Mexico, New York, Palm Beach, right down the road from Mar-a-Lago, St. James, or I think I already said that, and then Paris, France. He had a house out in Paris as well. So he trafficked victims all across the world. And so when they say like, oh, Trump never went to Epstein Island, only was on the plane like 7 times, like he did his dirty work all across. And that place up in New York that he had is a 7-story biggest townhouse in the city, wired. The bathrooms were wired. All the rooms were wired in video. And in 2019, after he finally got done up on some real charges, the FBI went in and found tens of thousands of pictures and video of, cheese pizza, as they say in the QAnon community. But yeah, and so not to beat a dead horse too much longer, but Epstein, intelligence asset that blackmailed all the elites for at least starting in the 90s, probably a little before that. I'm sure he, his obsession with and his degeneracy with children started way before the 90s. But yeah, that's this week's conspiracy theory of the week. And yeah, if you'd like to know more, there's a lot of good articles out here. This one from PolitiFact is not that bad. But yeah.
So is Trump in the files or not? He had like some sort of relationship with Epstein for 20 years.
Oh, he's definitely, yeah.
Never went to the island, but was at his house maybe.
Oh, yes, for sure. And he did fly on his plane several times, at least 7 times. It's been able to have been found. And yeah, Epstein trafficked children at all of his housing, all of his mansions and shit. That's what, because that was one of the things is like that came out in the 2019 when the FBI finally got to him is that they raided his mansion or his huge townhouse up in New York and just found because Epstein. So the thing was like Epstein got done up on charges in like 2008 or so, and Alex Acosta was the uh, attorney general, or yeah, for Florida for the Southern District as a federal prosecutor, and he gave him a sweetheart deal where he couldn't be. Uh, they only charged him with prostitution, right, and not like or like soliciting prostitution. They didn't for trafficking and a whole lot of other stuff. They dropped all that, and like the deal made it where him or any of his co-conspirators, named or unnamed, could not be prosecuted anymore. Then he ended up serving 13 months, where he went 6 days a week to the detention facility, but he had a 12-hour pass every day. So he really only spent like literally like at night there. Like he'd go there at night and sleep there and then wake up in the morning and leave all day. And then that was supposed to be 18 months and they dropped it down to 13 months. And then he was supposed to be on house arrest, but he left his house like hundreds of times. He'd fly out of the state, and the probation office didn't, charge him up on that. They just let him go, even though there's like victims detectives, private detectives, like documented him leaving and showed the evidence to the probation folks, and they're like, oh, what are we supposed to do? So yeah, I could go on and on and on, but he did all that, and and he started being accused in the 90s of this stuff, and but all his power and influence, clearly did him well. But now they're saying that they're going to release the evidence of him committing suicide, even though like all the cameras were broken that night and the guards were asleep. And I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, Cash Patel, Bogdano. A suicide when you see one, and that's what that was, because he committed suicide, quote unquote, during Trump's term of office. So yeah, I think I've gone on enough, and we got Bondi here saying there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn, and there are hundreds of victims, and they're going through redacting things to for what it's said. They say to make sure victims aren't compromised or shown, but yeah, they've had 5-6 years to do that already. So yeah, and there's more out there. There's more people involved. There's it's yeah, it's the conspiracy of our generation, I would say, for sure. We had 9/11 before that and JFK before that, and this one is what we got now, which is big surprise. All the rich folks are fucking crazy ass degenerates that think they can do anything and get away with it, and
largely
yeah.
can.
It seems to be they get away with it more than they get done up, for sure. But
And of
things
course,
change.
and everybody knew for years. Everybody knew about Harvey Weinstein for years. Everybody knew about P. Diddy for years. Everybody knew about Epstein for years, and they just kind of quietly went along with it.
Yeah, because
No one
that's
spoke
the
out.
thing. One of the first things he did once he got out from that stint he did down in Florida is throw a big party, and guess who showed up? Everybody. Like, oh, that's just Jeff, right? Oh, what's a little, you know, uh, you know, what's a little molestation of children amongst friends? Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, yep. So we'll see if those Epstein files get released. We'll see if the tapes that prove that he got that he killed himself get released, because there's a whole thing with his hyoid bone being broke in 3 different places, which is uh, common in strangulations and not, uh, you know, uh, hanging oneself. So yeah. So next, now that we're done with the conspiracy of the week, we got where is it? We got This Week in Socialism, and you said you got something set up for
I've
this
got a
week,
few things
and
to talk about.
yeah, I'm gonna read real quick from our Democratic Socialists of America 2025 calendar. A few things that happened this past week. It is June, isn't it? It sure is. It's June 8th. So the 1st of June, Vietnam Veterans Against the War founded in New York City in 1967. Something I'd like to remind y'all. It took 10 years of protesting and fighting, and taking soldiers even protesting to bring that to a close. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. Second, Harriet Tubman launches the Combahee River Raid, freeing nearly 800 slaves in 1863. And I misspoke there. That's General Harriet Tubman, because if you don't know, she's been awarded the rank of general by the Department of Defense. We got the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, founded in New York City in 1900 on June 3rd. June 4th, Leon Blum becomes France's first socialist and first Jewish prime minister as head of the People's Front government in 1936. I'd like to read more about the 5th. We've got gay socialist Spanish poet and playwright Federico Garcia Lorca, born in 1898. The 6th, Eid al-Adha, was and also D-Day on June 6th. And also that day, sniper wounds civil rights activist James Meredith during the March Against Fear in 1966. And on June 7th, Macy's storeroom workers organized the local 1-S of the CIO Retailing Union in 1939. And today, June 8th, veterans occupy the Statue of Liberty, demanding GI benefits and jobs in 1976. So, yeah, a little This Week in Socialism from the calendar. What you got, Jay? I really like the one from last week, too.
Yeah, I don't have anything as good as last week, unfortunately. But it continues to be Pride Month, so happy Pride Month to our LGBTQ comrades. So, in addition to that, so this week is and this may be inappropriate, but I don't care, the 21st anniversary of the death of Ronald Reagan. Rest in piss. I'm just saying.
Yeah. He certainly did not do the working class any favors. Denied the AIDS epidemic. Privatized everything he could. Fucked over uh, air traffic controllers, just to name a few things.
So this week, Alabama also celebrated Jefferson Davis, the first president. Speaking of assholes who died, this past Monday, Alabama celebrated the birthday of Jefferson Davis, the first and only president of the Confederacy, who was a complete failure most of his life, including his term as president. Made some amazingly boneheaded decisions. Was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Was given a bunch of money and land by his brother, and still couldn't amount to anything. And then he came to Alabama, which he, by all accounts, hated. He had no connections here, no family, no anything, but he had to be here because he was the president of the Confederacy. So
now, I did not realize how much he hated Alabama, which part of Dixie and all, right? Yeah, and I did not know that he wasn't originally from Alabama, although that totally makes sense since, they created the capital of Confederacy here and then imported the politicians to run the place. If you want to call what they did running a government.
Right. So we need to work in order to eliminate this holiday. Obviously, Alabama is one of, I think it might be the only state, or maybe us in Mississippi are the only states that still celebrate Jefferson Davis Day. And so it would be good if that were not the case.
Yeah, that seems about right. Us in Mississippi, I love our folks out in Mississippi, and we are tied together on a lot of levels.
Yeah, Alabama is the only state still celebrating the Confederacy with Jefferson Davis Day.
All right, well,
so we got to work on ending
that.
that.
That means we get rid of it. Well, a rim that'll be a little nail in the coffin. Another little nail in the coffin.
But just to move on to good news a little bit, aside from the death of Ronald Reagan, which was good news to me, but I'm the sort of person who will happily dance on a grave. I do not even care. People say it's wrong. I don't care. I will dance on your grave if you were bad.
The question is, what type of dance? You sea walk, square dance.
I mean,
what else we got out there?
I don't do much square dancing.
Yeah, neither do I. I never realized that square dancing was created like for white supremacy. Yeah,
I didn't realize that either, but why am I not surprised?
Exactly. I mean, and it's such a terrible day. Square dancing, like squares dancing, like lamos dancing. Yeah, it's a perfect name for what the hell it is. Oh, our super fan Corey, good to see you. So yeah, is that this week in socialist history?
Well, one thing I want to highlight too is that on June the 6th in 1872, pioneering feminist Susan B. Anthony was fined for voting in a presidential election in Rochester, New York. So she led a group of women that voted illegally. She was arrested, tried, and sentenced to pay $100. I can only imagine what $100 was worth in 1872. But she refused to pay it. So she died in 1906 and unfortunately did not live to see women get the right to vote, but she fought for it her whole life. and not long after her death, the 19th Amendment was finally ratified, allowing women to vote.
Yeah, and those women and their allies fought hard. Did not get black women to vote yet, but they literally dropped bombs to get that to happen. And $100 back then is about 2,600 today.
Wow.
So, yeah, not insignificant.
Yeah, wow. Well, she refused to pay it. But yeah, interesting history. And June the 8th is the anniversary of the death of Apache leader Cochise, who died on the Chiricahua Reservation in 1874.
Was he more a war leader or a political leader of?
A little bit of both. So he was principal chief of the Apaches, but he was also involved in fighting wars against settlers and soldiers, especially after the breaking of a particular peace treaty by the U.S. Army in 1861.
Yeah.
So,
it's funny, and I'd have to find it all again, but the Supreme Court, if I recall correctly, ruled in like 1830 that it was illegal for all these peace treaties to be broken and whatnot. So a little interesting thing, even though it was clearly continued. But yeah, I saw that a long time ago, and I was just, hey, they did the right thing, but then didn't do the right thing.
So yeah, respect to Cochise and to the Native and Indigenous struggles that go on today.
Yep.
And that's about all I have. I had some stuff prepared on the so this is also the week of the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. But I didn't know if we wanted to make mad the Maoists in our audience, because we're very popular among Maoists.
Well, all I know is about that is Tank Man, and I've seen some aftermath of some of that. In my opinion, even what socialist countries are out there, they use violence to enforce things, and what are you going to do? You going to tell me that China ain't never done no bad shit? I find that hard to believe.
So yeah, the Chinese government claims they only killed 300 in an unarmed attack.
Damn.
But U.S. estimates say 3,000. So, but I can't imagine, like, oh, we only killed 300 of our own civilians, including, by driving over them with tanks as they slept in their tents.
Yeah. And I think I'd be well served to read more on that subject. And I'm sure there's some good books out there, and probably some YouTube videos about it. But, I hope those folks' families found a way to heal after all that. But yeah, like I said, it seems that every government exercises force on its people at some point or another.
Well, China bills itself as the workers' paradise, but to say that workers control the means of production in China is to make a bad joke.
Yeah, so, they're definitely
since socialist, and certainly after Dingism, like now it's like fully aligned with capitalism, right? So
yeah, they got billionaires. You'd think they'd have the world's biggest workers co-op, like Mondragon, right? but that's in Spain.
Right. It's illegal to form a union. I think it's illegal to form a union in China.
Oh goodness. Oh, my
And
blind spots on China are big. Damn, you can't even form a union out there.
There's a single legal union. It is the All China Federation of Trade Unions.
So
it is the world's largest union with 300 million members.
With a population of 1.4 billion. So that's, you know, what, a 20-something percent unionization rate.
Right.
So, yeah. We're needing a 99% unionization rate and cooperate combined out here. That's what we're looking for, folks.
And I'm not saying like, I don't know. I mean, I personally put a high value on being able to vote in elections and having the freedom to speak and to do other things like that, and having like my basic civil rights respected. Now, I'm not going to say that every program put in place by countries like Cuba or China are wrong or bad, right? Like Cuba's medical system has a lot that's inspiring about it. And I can say, hey, we should emulate this without necessarily emulating putting LGBT people behind bars.
Yeah, they did. They certainly had a problem with that in Cuba. And I know that I think Che Guevara actually infiltrated one of those camps that they have for gay folks. And when he realized what was happening, like he spoke out harshly against it, which is a little interesting thing I read a while back. But yeah, there's every country can do better. Every country, full stop. And it's dependent upon the working class to make that happen.
So yeah, not to bag on historical socialist leaders or historical socialist countries too much, but there are some black spots in the history we should be aware of and try not to replicate. I mean, I think that's a big part of what we say we're democratic socialists and we don't want to replicate the Soviet Union. Even if we can say, hey, you know, they had a good space program, they had good health benefit. A woman could get free childcare while she went to school. There was maternity leave for students and things like that. You can say, hey, these are all good ideas, but sending people to the gulag for 10 years, maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. And we got our own little gulags going on here in Alabama.
Right. So yeah, now that I've proven that I'm a liberal and I'm not really a socialist, and now everybody hates me.
Fuck them. I'll say that for you. Fuck them. So yeah. What else? And now we got events and training that's happening throughout the state, throughout the country. If I can get organized here on my screen. We got around here, we got Marjorie Taylor Greene coming in to town on the 28th at Stovehouse Co-op, and folks are calling to demand a canceling of the event, and here's some phone numbers, and they're being brought in town by the Moms for Liberty folks, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later. And yeah, we got that going on. Big across the country. We've got the Not Our King, Not Our Circus. This is in Huntsville on June 14th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And this is actually going to be taking part across the country on the 14th, which is also the day of the big parade and the big birthday for our big boy. And if you check out Pole Rev, if I can get to it. Oh my goodness, so many things, my man, so many things. Here we go.
Well, I have like 50 tabs open every week of all the
Oh
articles
God,
I've read.
Exactly, dog, exactly. But if you go to Pole Rev, you can see there's events registered across the country. And these aren't all of them. This isn't representative of all of them, but a portion of them. And if you look, we've got quite a few happening in Alabama, down in Montgomery, Mobile, out in Anniston, Oxford, Scottsboro, Florence, and there's more happening. Not all of these are registered here, but you can find an event or come up with your own event and register. And if you don't know how to do an event, get in contact with us, because we can help you and point you in the right direction. And there's 5051 Discord server for Alabama. There's indivisible chapters out there. There's, of course, the Democratic Socialists of America, which we're now at about 5 chapters in the state. So yeah. Then we got, let's see here.
Including a budding Shoals area chapter, isn't that right?
Yes,
So,
the Shoals is standing up. Montgomery and Mobile are all standing up. So yeah,
that's fantastic.
It's from what I can gather, it's the largest amount of socialist movement since Black folks in the 1930s organized around socialism. And yeah, it's now it's not just Black folks. Some of these white folks out here, like me, have figured out the benefits to the working class of socialism, and you know what it's all about, which is fundamentally about having a decent life, and sharing power and sharing resources, like it's not complicated, folks. It's not complicated at all. We got some training. We got this June 10th, Jews Against Deportation, and ICE Watch training. This is Tuesday, June 10th at 7 Central. And, it's put on by Not Now If Not Now movement, with Jews for Racial and Economic Justice. They're putting that on. We got some more training available. Where is that? We got the ACLU putting on the Know Your Rights training to get ready for June 14th. And today, I missed the training, but there was de-escalation training with, and I'll show that in a second, with the No Kings 5051 folks. This is Tuesday, June 10th at 7 on Zoom. You can find that at act.acu.org. We've got training here, No Kings, trainings and calls. They just had some media and messaging training and safety and de-escalation training. That was today. And then Disappeared in America, a mass call on June 9th, Monday at 8. And a Know Your Rights training, June 10th. I think they're doing this in conjunction with the ACLU. Then June 11th, Marshall's training. I'm not sure conozca sus derechos taller en español. Okay, I think this is a know your rights training in Spanish. Yeah, on the 10th at 8:15 Eastern. So yeah, and then another training we got right here. Hoya and Fight Back. And this is being put on in Alabama. And you can go to bit.ly, FOIA, June 10th, and at 4 to 5 Central, 5 to 6 Eastern. And one of us needs to make sure we're at that training because I'm hoping this year to do a FOIA request for something like a real journalist. We are not journalists, folks. We're just working class people here trying to do a good job and keep folks informed and motivated. And then another thing up here, another event is Root, Build, Liberate, a People's Movement Assembly. Is going to be up in Huntsville at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville from 10 to 5. I think we got our DSA meeting that day as well, so I'll be doing double duty. But this is part of a People's Movement Assembly, which is a national organization, and then we fall under down here in the Southern Movement Assembly, I think is the correct. And this is put on by the folks at the Root Collective, which are a group of lovely people. And hopefully next week we'll have somebody come on as a guest to speak about this. So, we're trying to do guests, folks. We're just not very good at getting them on.
Well, there's no incentive to come on our show because we have a small audience, and if you're trying to get the word out about something, we may not be the best venue, but we're working on it.
Yeah, and we'd love to have y'all.
Oh yeah,
we'd love to have. So anybody in the audience that ever wants to come on, yeah, we're here for it. But just a few more things. Let's see here. I'd like to say that the strike is our superpower, and shout out generalstrikeus.com. And they got a Discord server I'm on, and they're organizing, hearing good things about them, and they're organizing with other national organizations. So keep that in mind, because ultimately it's probably going to take a strike to get to what we want. And we haven't had a general strike in this country since 1948. And speaking of, the general strike, big strike, that takes a lot of resources and planning. And I think the UAW folks, they've got a strike tentatively planned for 2028 when their contracts all are set to end. So that's something. But the People's Sick Day is supposed to be held this month, and they're organizing a 3-day national sick day. They haven't got the exact dates yet because they're planning to do a sneak attack. But here's a little basic bills, average wages. You see them getting outstripped right here. And a little graphic of prisons versus and jails versus colleges. Orange, more prisons than colleges. And if you look across, that is the majority of the United States. And more colleges than prisons. We got a little section up here in the Northeast, and then out west in Arizona and California. But they got a Discord and Facebook to stay connected. And another event that's coming up June 15th. There's a March to Gaza, a global March to Gaza is being put on. I don't know if anything's happening in Alabama, but I assume that something's going to happen. But a global march is being planned for this coming up Sunday. And speaking of Gaza and the Palestinian folks, the Freedom Flotilla, led by Greta Thunberg, among others. There's a tracker, freedomflotilla.org, is, as you can see, is coming up close to the Gaza Strip. They should be there they'll be there this week. Probably the next, well, let's see here. No, didn't do what I thought, but they'll be there this week. They've been attacked by drones. I think there was a previous flotilla attacked by drones. Additionally, to the flotilla, there is a siege breaking march that is preparing to pass through Libya towards Gaza that started in Tunisia. And, they're like, I believe that's where the Arab Spring kicked off so many years ago. But yeah, so there's, on top of that, there's a march going through northern Africa up to Gaza to break the siege that's going on there. And yeah, so those are the events and training that's going on throughout the area, throughout the United States, and throughout the world. Mind you, this is not comprehensive, folks, but that gives you a good idea of what's going on out there. And update from Chris. Apparently, they've already been intercepted and the crew has been arrested. I was wondering why it wasn't moving, because it was at the same spot as earlier. Well, shit. I guess they need to, we need to get another boat. Need to get a bigger boat, as they say. So thank you for that update, Chris. Unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah. Corey, just saw that. Thank you. You got stopped by the IDF, of course. So, well, if they can keep trying to stop us, and we'll keep going. How about that? And that we're working on, Corey. Hopefully we'll have that figured out this week. And might be having it at church. Just FYI. All right. So now on to the articles, I guess.
So I have a few things. There are a couple of ideas about local Alabama politics. The election season is starting, and so there are various people running, mostly chuds. Mo Brooks is leaving the door open for another Senate run in the 2026 election. He was on the Dale Jackson show on Thursday talking about it's improbable that he will run for the Senate, but it's more likely than it was a month or two ago. So
he was a former congressional representative, right? And then became attorney general during Trump's first term. No,
you're thinking of Jeff Sessions.
Oh, thank you very much, Jeff Sessions. Mo Brooks was a congressional guy. Sessions was the senator. I get all these white folks messed up. Yeah, I apologize.
So Mo Brooks is a extreme right-wing chud who was, unfortunately, the congressman from Alabama District 5, which we live in, is currently represented by extreme MAGA chud Dale Strong. But Brooks resigned from Congress so he could run from the Senate. And at first he had Trump's endorsement, and then Trump pulled his endorsement and endorsed Katie Britt in the primary. So Trump basically stabbed this guy in the back. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's a little bit bitter about it. And he's one of these true conservative believers when it comes to things like the deficit and debt and cutting spending. And so he is critical of Trump from that point of view, saying that, Trump is still spending lots of money and we're not cutting the budget. We're not cutting things fast enough. So plus he's bitter about that whole being betrayed thing.
Yeah. Poor guy. What shall he ever do? Just sit on all his investments and income? Yeah.
Right. Oh, he's a thoroughly reprobate person. He's held a number of just outrageous views and statements over the years. He said that we should do everything short of shooting them to stop people from immigrating to America. And that's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Mo Brooks. Don't feel bad for him. It's just, to me, the whole thing was kind of funny. Watching him lose the Senate seat. And he's been out of politics for the past few years, focusing on, I guess, being a grandfather to his grandchildren.
I guess they got tired of his ass.
I guess so.
Yeah, I also saw a announcement. And it looks like the Democrats are going to actually run people. We got Ashley Dunham, who announced a candidacy for Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. The Alabama Supreme Court in the Democratic primary on Wednesday announced, and is challenging Greg Shaw, who's been an Associate Justice since 2009. So yeah, slowly putting up a fight from the Democrats, which, I'm not a super big fan of the Democrats on the national level. Hey, now that Elon's turned on Trump, the National Democrats are trying to recruit him, even though he put out a poll that got millions of votes about creating a third party for the 80% of Americans that make up the working class. But it's a trap, folks. It's a trap. And the Democrats would be Ro Khanna, Silicon Valley representative out there in California, is all about eating on his ass, it looks like.
This is pointing from Ro Khanna.
Yeah, not surprising. He's been a tech bro type guy since I've been paying attention to him. But yeah, Corey is exactly right. We need the Alabama's Workers Campaign to create the working class party. Exactly. And that is a years-long project, and it is in its infancy, but it will happen, folks, because why? It's a moral imperative. So what else we got with elections going on, or are we?
So there's Wes Allen. So there's Wes Allen he is currently the Secretary of State, most famously known for tossing people off the voter rolls, among other things. He is running for lieutenant governor, and he is boasting that his campaign has raised more money than other candidates, all three in cash on hand, amount raised, and number of donors. He is leading in all three of those metrics. So he is currently, there's no polling information yet, but he is, based on financial donations, he is currently the front runner to be lieutenant governor of Alabama.
Wes Allen. How many folks are running against him in the Republican primary? And I haven't heard of any Democrats running for lieutenant governor as of yet.
So I haven't either. The Democrats are keeping their people close to the chest. Like I have some like not to reveal my sources, but I have some contact among muckety mucks in the Democratic Party, including well, I won't say. But
I'll say one. Corey pointed out a good Democrat that's running for, I think, Senate District 5, and Ryan Cagle, who also just got ordained today, as I believe, and is having a phone bank. If you look up on Facebook, you can find him, but he's having a phone bank tomorrow. Like I said, our capturing of events is not comprehensive, but if you're looking for somebody to support, highly suggest Ryan Cagle. Got the only Narcan vending machines in the state going, and yeah,
absolutely. So, but long story short, the Democrats are waiting to pull the trigger on their campaigns until it gets a little bit closer to the election. I'm not entirely certain why, but they're keeping I'm told that it's an open secret among the muckety mucks that people are going to be running for these races, but they haven't formally announced yet. And I know part of that is because when you formally announce, you're immediately on the hook for following campaign finance laws and reporting and all kinds of other issues that you have to be really set up to do. So there are people who are getting their ducks in a row first before they announce. And I guess that makes sense because they're going to have vastly fewer resources than the Republican candidate will. But to answer your question, there are several people running for lieutenant governor on the Republican ticket. The only person I would consider serious is Rick Pate, who is currently the agricultural commissioner in the state. But Wes Allen has the stronger conservative bona fides. So I think just if you assume that in Alabama the most chuddy candidate is going to win, Wes Allen is the most chuddy candidate. Although it's kind of odd because there's a pastor running named Dean Odle who ran for governor in 2022, and he's a real out there nutcase. So you can't assume it's the most chuddy candidate, but there's a certain level of seriousness and chuddiness that you need to have, and it matters that Wes Allen is the current Secretary of State. He has a track record.
He's got the bona fides.
Exactly.
Corey here is asking, do you guys feel we're witness Alabama politics become more blue? I do. 100%. There's a lot of work behind the scenes happening, and is being driven by some very motivated folks. And yeah, I do think that we're seeing the Democrat. We'll see how successful they are, but there is definitely energy behind the scenes in the Democratic Party to start to challenge, because I think we all saw in the last election how few challengers there were across the state. I can't remember the exact percentage, but I swear it was something like 90%, 80-90% of things were like not even, they didn't even have a candidate, even up here in purplish North Alabama area.
I'm a little bit more pessimistic about that. I'm not seeing it. It's possible that the Democratic candidates may become more blue, but will that give them a better chance of winning? I would like to hope so. I think, we saw Marilyn Lands run on a campaign that was focused almost exclusively on abortion rights. and reproductive rights, and she won her campaign in a purplish area of Huntsville.
I think the key thing that if Democrats want to have a chance is that they need to divorce themselves from the strategy of the national party and embrace working class policies, policies for the working class. I think that would hit. I think that they could get wins with that. But the question is, will they? Will they announce a platform, a unified platform to encompass that? That remains to be seen. But I've certainly said as much to Democrats here and there that if they want to have success, they need to embrace working policies for the working class and to distinguish themselves from the national Democrats.
I absolutely agree. I mean, like, when a conservative gets elected, I have a general impression of what that conservative is going to do and what he's going to drive forward in. But if a Democrat gets elected, it's a crapshoot of what they might actually try to accomplish. And I think if they spoke with one voice and said, hey, we're going to do these things to make life better for Alabamians and not just offer a lottery.
Yeah.
I think that we would see some turnaround on just the complete shellacking they've been taking since 2010.
Yeah.
But
they certainly do not have seem to have a unified strategy, but that's the past. Let's see what they're going to continue and try to do moving forward. But there's an opportunity for progressive Democrats to present policies that nationally, the nation agrees with universal health care. Hell, you talk about like individual rights and stuff like that. Like there's even now like polls that show that conservatives support trans folks in a majority. So like all these culture war things, like they've worn thin even on conservatives. So if the Democrats in the state get unified, get people into the primaries, challenge seats, like they have a chance to win. But like I said, it remains to be seen if they're going to present working class policies. For instance, I don't know, maybe a minimum wage for the state. Maybe start there.
I think there are a number of things that can be done. There are real structural problems in Alabama. We need a new constitution. We need home rule. We need
term limits. All kinds of things.
I'm a little more skeptical of term limits, but I'm willing to talk about them.
Yeah. We definitely. I'm a big believer in term limits. I think that whole like, oh, they need to like, blah blah blah, like they need to be experts and whatever. Okay, man, like that's all. I think the longer folks stay in power, the worse it is overall for the electorate. You don't get fresh ideas, you don't get fresh energy, and I think it overall serves lobbyists and corporations versus new people that aren't all these like little relationships develop and they get compromised. That's my opinion of term limits.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, Corey. I think on the electoral front, the cultural war messaging and the more inflammatory stuff on immigration should be studied, and messaging should be developed to redirect that energy correctly. Yeah, even the immigration stuff, the conservatives are tired of it from polls I've seen. So, like I said, this stuff is wearing thin, and you know these businesses out there who use immigrant labor and all their job sites and farms and stuff getting raided uh, is certainly impacting their bottom line. And they're like, oh no, why is the leopards eating my face? Well, because they're leopards. So the the current regime is shooting themselves in the foot ultimately. And maybe we'll be able to show some of what's happening out in LA and whatnot here in a second. You know, for instance, like LA is about to erupt. ICE beat and detained the head of the SEIU, which has some 2 to 3 million members, and 750,000 of them are in Southern California, who are preparing to go on strike and fill the streets until their union leader is released.
I hope they do.
Well, I do as well. And I saw the video. He wasn't doing nothing, man. Like, he's a union president. He wasn't there to perform civil disobedience. Yeah.
Well, it would have been fine if he was.
As long as it's coordinated and planned, but it certainly, the video did not show that at all. It showed him just like chilling and watching, and they got his ass. So shout out to bail funds,
including the Alabama bail fund. Now, don't they have an event coming up, or has it passed already?
So the Huntsville Bail Fund just put on Stop the Bleed training this past Sunday. There's some more trainings that they're gonna have planned. They're planning to know your rights stuff around here. They're planning more medical training around here. And if you want to volunteer for them, I have a court watch program and some other things that they're doing. So, they are awesome people. They're very dedicated. We had one of the directors, Tahira, on here I think she was our first guest. And we probably took too much of her time, but she was very, 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 just a very incredibly well-informed guest, and I learned so much from her. So shout out Huntsville Bail Fund, and hopefully, I think there's one other bail fund in the state, but hopefully their work morphs into a bigger thing across the state, or at least other areas can emulate them and form their own bail funds in their area. And I think there's some not formalized bail funds in different areas, but more informal organization or informal network of people that effectively serve as bail support and jail support.
Good deal.
Oh, man, thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. I really do. I would be remiss to not give kudos to my co-host right here, who first meeting you, like, you got me excited the day I met you, man, and the work you're doing and the knowledge you bring, and trying to raise up the Green Party. So yeah, I appreciate you, Corey, and I want to give a say to you, Jason, I really appreciate what you're doing and you being part of this project here, and all the professionalism you bring to it, because it certainly ain't me bringing any professionalism to this thing.
Well, I don't know about that. I appreciate the compliments, but I'm not sure how much professionalism I bring. Let me tell you, Austin is a hell of a speech giver. And if you've ever seen him at a rally and heard him give a speech, like, it's amazing how he can work up a crowd. So I'm certainly in awe of his ability to do that. He's a great organizer. I'm happy to be part of this project. And yeah, I spend hours every week trying to get ready and trying to make sure I know what I'm talking about. And you absolutely just can't tell. So it's just
I don't
wasted.
know about that.
But yeah, my problem is I'm not very funny. I'm not good at being funny. And on podcasts, you have to be like, amusing and able to tell a quick joke and quick-witted. And about the only thing I bring to the table is my ability to memorize large amounts of information quickly. So,
which is fundamental to our success.
That's my party trick. I have a really good memory.
Hey, that's what's up, man. That brings us to political education. You are an educator of folks. So yeah, fundamental to the working class's future success. And thank you very much for the compliment about speaking. Actually, I'm supposed to give a speech this Saturday at that event. It took me a while to get there. Definitely, first few speeches I gave, I was shaking like a leaf on a tree. But anybody who thinks they can't speak in public, I encourage you to try and do so, and you'll get it. You'll shake them nerves off. You will.
We ought to start recording your speeches and incorporating them into the podcast.
All right. We can work on that. I will definitely try to find some stuff out there. I think this last one got recorded. Maybe we'll be able to show next week's speech on the show, and hopefully, yeah. But and when I speak, I'm trying to represent the voice of many, because it's a privilege to be able to get up there and speak. It's an honor to be able to do things like that. It's not everybody can get off work. Not everybody has the mobility to get someplace. So when I'm speaking, I'm just trying to do my best to represent all the voices that are silenced and not able to do it, or don't have the compunction to, because hey, there's plenty of work other than speaking, other than doing this. Me personally, I don't like making phone calls, so I am always impressed with the folks that are like, I've called such and such all week and left messages all week, and I'm like, that's what's up. Like, so there's a role for everybody out there, like making the art. Maybe you don't want to call politicians. Maybe you can write a song. That all matters, and it all builds up together in one beautiful, ball of energy that rolls over all these oligarchs we got out there. So yeah. So you drop some articles for us to look at. Anyone you want to look at in particular first?
I forget what I shared with you. There is, there's real depressing news. Like, the Supreme Court will hear Alabama appeal and bid to execute man found to be intellectually disabled. So Alabama is trying to execute Joseph Clifton Smith, who was sentenced to death for killing a man in 1997. But lower courts have found that he's intellectually disabled and thus can't be executed. And the state's trying to execute him anyway. Now, I am very passionately anti-death penalty.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
it's a barbaric practice that needs to end. It's more expensive. If you're some fiscal conservative, guess what? It's more expensive to execute somebody than it is just to house them in a facility for the rest of their lives. If that's, you know, if they're some type of person that does something beyond the pale.
so the Supreme Court's going to hear whether or not the state can proceed on the execution. I have very little faith in this Supreme Court, but you never know. This is one of those issues where they might break through, where the right thing might happen.
Yeah.
And thank you, Corey, for your nice compliment saying you were impressed by my knowledge. Yeah, I'm very flattered by that.
Well deserved. We mentioned earlier the Moms for Liberties folks bringing Marjorie Taylor Greene into town. And, one of their dear leaders, Rachel Homlack, she's going to be running for Madison City Council. This is her up in Missouri, dressed in drag. And being oh so witty. But yeah, she's running. Made news for tangling with members of the Athens Limestone Public Library in March. She's also came up into the Huntsville Madison Public Library system. Actually, I was at City Council one day in Huntsville, and I'm entering, and she's coming in herself too, and her legs all broke up, and I proceed to open all the doors for her, call the elevator, and then open the door to the City Council. Let her walk on in. So it was hard to hold myself back from tripping her, but I did, folks. But yeah.
So yeah, she's one of these book banners. I've spoken to several community leaders who have had, over Discord, who've had just horrible experiences with Homelack. She's a true believer in just this rabidly anti-trans stuff, and it's important, I think, that we work to get her defeated to make sure she doesn't win.
Yeah. So good luck, motherfucker. So
that's really, I think, all that I had.
This is where we got those vote and don't matter types. It does. It's it's not going to change the whole world and whatnot, but like local votes manage local policy, and don't sit there and and then the other end is voting is all that matters, and voting matters and other things matter too. So
yeah, people often say this line that if voting changed anything, they would make it illegal. And my response to that has always been, well, they did make it illegal for women, for African Americans, for lots of people to vote, for people who didn't own property. Like at some point in American history, it's been illegal for somebody to vote. And even now, like the right to vote is under constant attack from the right. So not just changes to the Voting Rights Act, but I would even say denying undocumented people the ability to vote in places where they work and live and pay taxes is a form of disenfranchisement. that is illegitimate.
And I think up somewhere up north, they actually made it legal for residents, not just citizens, to vote in local elections. You know, like that's not something that's possible here in Alabama at this moment because of lack of home rule and stuff. But you know, expanding the electorate has brought progress to this country, and you know, other parts of the world. Like, you know, it'd be nice to flick a switch and fix everything all at once, but that's usually not how things move. I mean, even in post-revolutionary countries, that you know, things weren't all fixed all at once. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what we're doing, it takes time. You know, no matter what it is.
There will still be voting even if we were to somehow take power, like, right? I mean, the way to find out what the working class wants is to conduct polling and have elections, or to have some sort of mechanism by which they can provide meaningful feedback into the system.
Yeah, what are you gonna have? A dictator?
Right,
Authoritarianism?
exactly.
Like a king? Like fucking use the electoral system, learn how electoral systems work, you know, get people elected to the daggum you know, Alabama Public Service Commission, you know, like change the fucking have a material impact on folks by driving down the energy rate or energy prices for the state. Like that shit matters.
Yeah,
But yeah,
every little bit matters. I think everything we do matters. There's a lot that needs to be done. Like, I think that sometimes we spend a little bit too much time and energy on elections, especially in regards to what they pay back, like what's the return on investment, especially in states like Alabama. But I still feel like voting is essential, and like everything is essential. Organizing a union is essential. Building alternative power structures is essential. Building co-ops and things like
mutual
that,
aid
and
and
mutual
direct
aid.
action.
Right.
Direct action is very much essential to hold people accountable and keep applying pressure, make sure folks are doing the right thing or getting in the way of folks doing the wrong thing.
That's right. And like in a time when we're out of power, such as now, you know, direct action, like we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait in order to do it. We don't have to wait to join a union. We don't have to wait. Well, we do have to wait to vote, unfortunately, because of the way our voting system is currently designed. Now, maybe in the future, a post-revolutionary voting system would be a little bit more responsive. But until that time comes, it's going to take direct action and mutual aid and joining and forming unions and going on strike and voting every few years. It matters who's in power, and if they're at least nominally friendly to you.
Yeah, sure enough. So this is one of the articles you sent to me. Women in West Virginia who miscarry could face criminal charges, and it's not just West Virginia.
Yeah, I bring this up because this is the sort of thing that will find its way into Alabama over time. And I hate to end on such a down note. But
well, I have a up note after we get through this, but you know, I saw in Texas that some cop a lady had a miscarriage and they used 83,000 cameras provided by the company Flock throughout the country to track this woman down. And you know, and here in this article, the prosecuting attorneys, you know, prosecutors are telling these women to call the cops, call 911 if you have a miscarriage, you know, and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they've already used tracking software in the state to track women getting abortions. I remember seeing that last year. But yeah.
So this is the kind of thing that will, like, I think it's important to keep an ear to the ground. And when I see something like this in states like West Virginia, you know it's going to be coming to Alabama soon. So, and especially during Republican primary season, where it's a very good guess that whoever wins the Republican primary is going to win the election. And so there's going to be all this pressure on them to win the primary by promising the most extreme position on things like abortion. And this is going to be part of it. You know, Steve Marshall, the Attorney General, he's running for the Senate. And even though he has plenty of conservative bona fides, he may decide to take on more. So,
from the article, in 2023, a woman in Ohio was charged with a felony abuse of a corpse after she miscarried into a toilet. The grand jury ultimately decided not to indict. Earlier this year,
nullification.
Yeah. Shout out jury nullification. Earlier this year, after a Georgia woman suffered a miscarriage and was found bleeding in the parking lot, police charged her with concealing the death of another person and throwing away or abandoning a dead body. Those charges were also dropped. But yeah,
they're testing the boundaries. They're seeing what they can get away with.
Yeah,
and they're testing the boundaries everywhere. Like one of the articles I had this week was about the Southern Baptist Convention trying to sue over Obergefell and get it overturned, and so they can overturn marriage equality the way they overturned abortion rights in this country. And the Southern Baptists are the largest denomination in Alabama by far.
What is that? And there's also I think the people that did that Roe v. Wade stuff, the Alliance Defending Freedom or the something like that. But they're a national organization. I think they help the Moms for Liberty folks too, if I recall correctly. But I'd have to double check that name. But yeah, they're ones who basically destroyed Roe versus Wade over decades of work. I think Mike Johnson was actually their chief lawyer at one point before he became a congressman.
That checks out.
Fucking Mike Johnson, like he just looks oily, He looks like his skin ain't oily and stuff, but he looks like just beneath his face is just like oil, like it's just about ready to seep out, and he'll turn into his final form here soon.
He looks like a chaotic, evil forest creature of some type.
Yeah.
Like
me.
Like Mr.
He does. He does have
Alan Moore comic where he goes all evil.
Yeah, he does have like evil leprechaun, maybe evil elf vibes.
Evil elf vibes, for sure.
Yeah.
Like evil hobbit vibes. Yeah, he would totally be like a Sackville Baggins, like Lotho, the chief sheriff, who is the fascist leader in the Shire.
Oh man, I need to hear more about this. The fascist leader of the Shire. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like in the books, after they return from destroying the ring, they find that the Shire has been taken over by this fascist thug named Lotho Sackville Baggins. I think that's his name. And like they have to he's aligned with Saruman, who is kind of retreated to the Shire after being defeated, and they have to do what's called the scouring of the Shire, where they get rid of the fascist hobbit.
The Purge.
Yep. And that is what Mike Johnson is. He is a fascist hobbit.
I need this name so I can post about it. All right, a couple more things, and then we're gonna wrap up here. we're gonna see if we can play a fucking video. Let's see.
We are 0 for 3 on playing videos, so I'm going to bet against the video.
All right, you ready? Here we go. So this is just this is from a couple days ago, actually. By now, LAPD in full riot gear has arrived. Backup DHS agents trapped inside a federal building, federal government parking structure. The crowd's been ordered to disperse, and this was their response. Oh, yeah. Oh, so close.
Yeah.
Close. Oh, this is why we need to upgrade broadband throughout the state, which is one headline I saw this week. All right.
Yeah, I won the bet. I won the bet against the video.
Well, one day you're not going to win the damn bet, but you did win. You did. I concede.
I am a so it's weird. Like, I have so many mixed feelings about gambling, and I've talked about this before. Like, I don't know that I want to see casino gambling come to Alabama because I feel like it's a very predatory industry and it preys on the poor. On the other hand, I personally love to gamble, and I would totally be a degenerate gambler if there were casinos within easy driving distance.
Yeah, I think I would definitely be at the poker tables. I would find my way there once a week. And with that, oh my God, this is stop. With all this going on, if you're looking to mask up, which Trump has said is illegal now to wear a mask, go with a product like 3M's multi-gas / vapor cartridge filter.
Now it wants to play video.
Yeah, exactly. With that fucking, what does it sound like, a synthesizer from the 80s music? I kind of was jamming a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Like, first few licks on it. Yeah. And yeah, there's some other stuff out there. Stop AIDS, Stop ICE Raids, Alert Network at stopice.hop2.org. And you can go through and see all the ICE raids that's going on. If you notice, a heavy part of that is in California. I'm not going to try to play this. I've learned my lesson. But we got Paul out here trying to bring a bill up to block the bombs being sent to Israel. Yeah. And if you're looking for a little art, we've got the Doge Walker out in DC, Wheelie_and_artists. They're out there performing some art I found enjoyable, which of course doesn't want to play.
Yeah, I won that bet too. Even though I didn't say it. I thought it though.
We need to see if it's me. We need to do some testing to see if it's me or you, or me or the system itself. That's what I mean, not me or you. But because if you can play, then that means I can probably do it. But three more little things, and then we're gonna go. Came out with the 15 richest women in America. They should all be 8. We got Alice Walton out with Walmart, Julie Cox and family from Cox, Jacqueline Mars family, Got Abigail Johnson, Fidelity, Miriam Adelson and family. She's one of these Zionists out there funding stuff. She's got casinos. Marilyn Simmons and family got hedge funds. Melinda French Gates, Microsoft. She actually seems to be trying to get rid of her money. I wouldn't mind having some of that here in the state. Elaine Marshall and family, another cock. Mackenzie Scott also getting rid of her money from Amazon. And then Lyndall Stevens Greth and family, and oil and gas, Diane Hendricks with building supplies. Christy Walton, another Walmarter. Laureen Powell Jobs, I think she's getting rid of her money. It's funny, those three. And then another Nancy Walton Laurie, another Walmarter, and then Judy Love and family, all billionaires, and they need to not exist. Billionaires should not exist. And I'd like to shout out this. I think they're in their second publication, the Mobile Bay Labor Reporter. Love to see it, June 2025. Their second issue. And yeah, some of the things, they got their events going on. Why Pride Month. Raphael Sims, Portraits of a Cockroach, talking about mutual aid in the path forward. 50 years later, what lessons now? That's a now referring to the women's work. And one bus forward, two rides back. So shout out the folks down in Mobile putting this together. And, you know, they got their events going on and everything. Love to see it. Hopefully we get something like that going up here, but there's some good writing in there. I suggest folks take a look at it. And the last little thing is, there we go. 18-year-old Alabama student just graduated high school, and now he's running to be his city's mayor. And this is out in Fairfield, out west of Birmingham, and he's focused on affordable housing. But an 18-year-old getting in the mix, why not? I'm sure he's way smarter than Marjorie Taylor Greene and will ever be, and focusing on infrastructure. It's got an official rally Saturday at 10:30 a.m. At an abandoned strip mall, because that makes sense with the way the city's been abandoned. And yeah, he plans to go to UAB, major in political science and public administration. And you know, we've got his best friend's mom helping with his campaign, and they're helping. And yeah, this young man, Brandon Moss, good luck to you out there. I think that is some good news. And I think, you know, there's plenty more to talk about, plenty more that's going on. But I think it's about time for us to wrap up. And yeah. Jay, you got anything else on your mind? Anything you want to make sure we double tap before we go?
Not really. I just want to say again, solidarity with protesters everywhere in Los Angeles and Chicago and New York. And I'll certainly be paying attention to see if there's any solidarity protests in the area. So, but people putting their bodies on the line to protect their neighbors are heroes in my book. And I can't express my well wishes enough.
Yeah.
So watching them cattle cops and sending the cops running back has been really good for my morale.
Hell yeah, dog. Hell yeah. Yeah. Solidarity out there with all the folks in the streets and fighting the good fight and making good trouble. Shout out to the Alabama Coalition of Immigrant Justice here and the Day Laborers Union down in Birmingham, and all the folks throughout the whole country. It's been, I ain't gonna lie, it's made me smile a little bit. You know, I haven't been this happy in a decade, to be honest. But it's certainly seems to be logically unnecessary for all this horse shit to be going on. But that's what you get when you get capitalism. Eventually, it's got to eat its own, more so than before. Because 100%, my belief is they would be happy to have us all in chains. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think we're going to say goodbye, folks. Thank y'all, everybody who's been here. And, you know, as we say here, all the power to all the people. We, the people, break our chains together. Solidarity forever, folks.
Solidarity forever.